What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chef Gone Carnivore. I am Chef Joe, and today I wanted to share with you 3 reasons why I believe I've been able to stick to the carnivore diet over twice as long as I've stuck with any other diet. For those of you who are starting the carnivore diet or thinking about starting the carnivore diet, I hope this will help you decide to go ahead and give it a try. It's been a great decision that my wife Joy and I made about 10 months ago to start the carnivore diet. I've lost over 100 pounds so far. She has lost almost 45 pounds so far, and it's been a great decision. We're very glad we did it. And if you've had trouble sticking with diets in the past, you may find that the carnivore diet is just what you need to stick with a diet longer than you've ever done before. So let's get into it. First reason why, for me personally, I've been able to stick to this diet longer than any other is because it is good. It tastes good. I love meat. I've always enjoyed meat, and that has been the thing I have wanted to indulge myself in ever since I could remember. As a kid, if we were at a barbecue and the brownies or cookies came around after the meal, I would go looking and see if there was an extra burger left over, and I'd have a second burger rather than having the dessert. Steak, same thing. Fried chicken, same thing. I've loved meat, and I've always gone for more meat if it's available. So a diet that is centered around that aspect of the thing I would indulge on anyways is like perfect for me. And sure enough, over the 10 months, this has certainly been the easiest diet to stick to for me. Now, I know others, and I've watched videos of others who have actually struggled to stay on because they're not a person who normally eats a lot of meat, and it's something that they've had to learn or kind of adjust to. For me, there was no adjustment needed. It feels like an indulgence most of the time if I'm able to eat a beautiful juicy steak or a burger or a nice thick pork chop, things like that. That is satisfying to me, and so this diet has been perfect and a really easy thing for me to stick with. Now, how long? If I've stuck to the diet 10 months and I've stuck to it over twice as long as any other diet, for those of you who are good at math can realize I've not stuck to diets very long in the past, and you are right. The longest I've ever stuck with a diet, I would say, is probably 2 times. I stuck to the paleo diet and the keto diet for about 4 to 5 months, somewhere in that range. Definitely not longer than 6 months. And I had success on those when I stayed with them, but they were much harder and took more willpower to stick with, even though those diets were easier than just calorie restrictive diets that I had done at other times in my life. The paleo diet I did when I was in my 20s. I was also doing CrossFit at the time. That's how I found out about the paleo diet. And so my exercise level was very high. I was in my 20s, so my metabolism was in better shape. I had lost weight easier. And doing the paleo diet minus fruit, I lost a ton of weight. I lost about 125 pounds in 4 months, which is obviously faster than what I'm losing now, since I've lost 107 in 10 months. But Christmas rolled around at around that 4 to 5 month mark, and I thought I'll just take the week off. I've done really well. I've lost over 120 something pounds. I exercise a lot. I'll take the week off. I've earned it. And taking that week off for Christmas turned into taking years off. And having a week of being able to eat whatever I want turned into years of eating whatever I want. And I made it back to the weight that I'd started at, if not heavier. Similar thing happened with keto, but with keto it was a little more complicated because I needed to keep track of my macros. I found it was hard for me to stay in ketosis. I didn't feel like I was eating much carbs, but I found that even a little bit of carbs, my body was sensitive enough to that it would go out of ketosis. And then if I ate too much protein, I would go out of ketosis. And the protein was harder for me because I craved meat. I wanted more meat. I didn't really care whether I had more, zucchini or things like that. I wanted more steak or more chicken or more fish. And I found that when I would eat the amount that I wanted, it would kick me out of ketosis. So when I started the carnivore diet 10 months ago, it sounded perfect for me. I was a little concerned about the health aspect of it, but following people like Dr. Berry and Dr. D'Agostino and Chaffee and guys like that helped me feel like it was fine. I wasn't going to have any health issues necessarily from doing this diet, and I've been blown away. I've had no issues with energy. I've slept better. I feel better than I've felt as long as I can remember. And so that's been great. So the first reason why I've stuck to this diet longer, I think, is because it is centered around the thing that I crave most, which is meat. And so for me personally, this diet was like custom made for my preferences. The second reason why is I haven't had nearly as many problems fighting cravings as I have in the past. Why that is exactly, I don't know. Maybe it is because I'm eating the thing that I find most satisfying, which is meat. But maybe it's just because my insulin levels I've maintained very low. Because it's restrictive enough, I'm not eating things with carbs in them. It's a zero carb diet. Perhaps that's why. Also with the keto and paleo diet, I was drinking diet soda quite a bit, where I've cut that out this time around. I think that's probably helped with cravings. But whatever the reason, it's probably all of those actually, but whatever the reason is, I haven't been dealing with cravings the same way I have in other diets. And for those who don't have issues with cravings, it is not just something sounding good or like, wow, brownies are delicious. It's not like now I'm like, I don't think brownies would be delicious. Of course they'd be delicious. It's different. So a real craving is like when you are being pulled towards the food. Well, there's been times I've done other diets where I've been cheating or like eating a cookie or something, and while I'm eating it, in my brain I'm like, I don't want to be doing this right now, but it feels like I don't have a choice. Like it feels like something else is making that decision for me, and it's not coming from my mind. To me, that's a craving. Just thinking something would taste good, I don't think that will ever go away. Just, do I feel pulled towards pasta or pulled towards that cookie? Is there something else hijacking my decision making? That's a craving. And I haven't really had that issue on this diet so far, and it's been over 10 months. And so I think as long as I'm not cheating a little bit, that keeps me from cheating a lot. And that actually leads to the third reason. But before I get to the third reason, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel and you like results videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. I also do cooking videos. I'm a professional chef. It's what I do. I put up lots of videos on how to cook steak and other meats. I'm going to be putting some up on some equipment, like different pans that I cook with, suggestions for those, lots of different cooking things, but also just tracking the results of myself and also my wife, Joy, and just letting people know how our experience with doing this diet has been, how it's been going, and what our results have been like. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It's good for the channel. It also helps me know what kind of content you like. And let's get back to that third reason why I've been able to stick to the carnivore diet longer than any other diet I've tried. And I think that reason is because the carnivore diet is the most restrictive diet that I've ever been on. Now, for some people, that sounds like a negative thing. And perhaps for most people that is a negative thing, but for me that's actually a positive thing. So the way my brain works is if there's a little bit of a gray area or if there's a little bit of a compromise that can be made, it's like I try to toe that line and see how close to the edge I can get without it hurting the results. So like on the keto diet, if I ate no cashews, I would be best off and I'd probably have the best results. But if I can eat an ounce of cashews and be fine, then I'm going to eat an ounce of cashews. And then the next day I'm going to say, I seem to be okay with an ounce of cashews, so maybe today I'm going to try 2 ounces of cashews, see how that goes. And if it doesn't derail things, I say, okay, 2 ounces were good, how about 3? That's just how my mind works. If I know that I'm able to eat something and still make the diet work, it's like I can't help myself. I have to do it. So the more restrictive, the better. That's been the nice thing about the carnivore diet being so restrictive. And it'd probably be different if it was restrictive in something that I didn't naturally want to indulge in anyways. But for me, luckily enough, it's meat, which is what I would want anyway. So it just was a perfect diet for me. Now, the only gray areas, really, there are some gray areas in the carnivore diet. I would say one would be dairy would be an obvious one. There are some people who are on the carnivore diet who have no dairy restrictions. If they want to eat a bunch of cheese or whatever, they just go for it. No problems. There are others who can't have it at all because they just don't feel their best, or they're not optimized when they eat dairy, or their body reacts poorly to it. And then there are those who try to minimize it and try to eat as little as possible, but still do have some here and there. So I guess that could be a gray area. But for me, I do best with no dairy as far as how I feel. I definitely do want more dairy, so I guess that would be one area. Like if I'm eating a burger, it would definitely taste better if I had a nice melted piece of like smoked aged cheddar on top. Like that would be better. So but I just don't feel quite as good. But if I do have that, it doesn't derail the diet. Does that make sense? Like it's not like having like way too many nuts on the keto diet. Now I'm out of ketosis and it'll take several days to get back in. Like, so dairy would be a little bit of a gray area. And then maybe one would be spices. There are some people who don't eat any spices. They just stick with salt, which is great. And then there are other people who do carnivore who don't really have much of a limit on what spices they can use. They just use whatever sounds good. Generally, I try not to eat spices right now. As I get closer to my goal weight, I probably will start to incorporate more of that type of thing. But I do occasionally have taco seasoning in my ground beef, maybe once or twice a week. And that's just because the ground beef aspect makes up a decent portion of the meals. And just ground beef with salt can get a little boring. And so just being able to mix it up a couple times a week, once or twice a week, helps. And it doesn't seem to affect my results or how I feel. So I've kind of allowed myself to do that. Plus, I sell spice rubs and seasonings. So it's kind of what I do now. And so I do enjoy having that flavor aspect of it. But I will, as I get closer to my goal weight, I'll be including more things like flavorings and seasonings into the carnivore diet, and just seeing if it affects how I feel or what my results are. If it doesn't, then I'll probably just start including it normally. If it does, then it's out. But so I think those are the three things that really sum up why I feel like I've been able to stick with this diet longer. For those of you who are thinking about starting the carnivore diet, who have not had success with other diets, give it a try. See how you do. Just commit to at least 60 days. Say, no matter what, I'm going to do 60 days on this diet and see how it goes. If you're like me, you'll find that this diet is the easiest diet to stick to. The results are good, and it's very satisfying. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, don't forget to give a thumbs up or subscribe if you enjoy this content. And until next time.